I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Every man has a duty to question the lies. When DC turns its back and looks us in the eyes, the deep state had changed, but we shattered every link. Now the engine is roaring, full throttle, no blame. They mocked us from their towers while the country nearly fell, but the fire in us answered red, white, and blue as hell. From the mountains to the prairies, hear the thunder in the streets. A million boots marching to the same damn beat. We are the Patriot Confederation. We are the Patriot Confederation. The Patriot Confederation, we are the Patriot Confederation. They called us conspiracy theorists, tried to bury the flame, but the flame became wildfire, and we're done with the shame. Washington's courage, Jefferson's pen, Declaration of Independence, let it ring again. The Constitution's promise, Bill of Rights held high, Old Glory still waving through the smoke in the sky. This is bigger than parties, bigger than pride. It's the soul of a nation that they try to divide. When the eagle screams and the Liberty Bell rings, we'll defend what I found is built with everything. No more shadow, no more lies. Look up, brothers and sisters, see the fire in our eyes. We are the Patriot Confederation. We are the Patriot Confederation. We are sworn to the Constitution till the day that we die. The Patriot Confederation, forever we rise. As the Patriot Confederation, we do not bend, we do not break. We stand on the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. Liberty will never fall.
This is the Patriots Prayer Network, where truth matters.
The following is a presentation of AOW Productions.
The views and opinions by the hosts and guests of this program do not reflect those of the Patriots Prayer Network, its owners and/or associates. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Every patriot has an obligation to question authority. Those who are honest are not concerned with your watchful vigilance, and those with integrity are not concerned with your discernment. Every American is obligated to voice their concerns and stand up for their freedoms and liberties.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are the men in the arena. We are the Patriot Confederation.
We will never back down from a fight. We're undefeated Americans.
In shadows forged by ancient lies, a spark ignites, the veil shall rise. Welcome, everybody, to Patriot Confederation for what is the 18th of August, 2026. By the way, it's my dad's birthday. Getting some strange feedback. I don't know what it's coming from. Yes, my dad would be 75 if he was still with us. God bless him. May he rest in peace. But I want to say happy birthday to Dad up in heaven. And, of course, as always, I'm joined by John Grosvenor out of Nashua, New Hampshire, New England. How's it going up there, brother?
It's a going, Billy. Same old up here in New England. I don't know what that feedback is about, but I was hearing some of that static or kind of clicking sounds.
Yes. And joining us this week as we approach the New Hampshire primary, we have another member of the House of Representatives out of the state of New Hampshire. I want to welcome Cindy Bennett to the show. Cindy, thank you very much for joining us. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we hear you perfectly.
Okay. Yeah, I'm doing well, and we do have a primary in my town, so we're working hard. We have 3 representatives from our town running together on a slate, and we all have, conservative values and pretty much the same type of stand in the state house. And we worked together last term. And we had a great 2 years, and we're hoping we can do it again. But we do have 2 running against us, so that's a little bit of fun.
And
small town too.
Yes, I grew up in a small town myself of about 700 people, just north of Boise.
Okay.
So I understand small towns very, very well, mind you. Whereas
we're not that small. We're about 10,000.
Now that's still pretty small. And now that the city I live in is about 50,000. But I don't think a lot of people realize just how important primaries are, especially if you're a true conservative and you have a true conservative in office, you need to wake up and realize just how important the primaries are, since rhinos are running against that conservative representative. it happened right here during our primary, and it was a disaster since, only 13% of the town, or 16% of the population showed up to vote in the primary. And
right. That's what I was going to say. You have 10,000 and then maybe 10 or 11% show up. So it's a small amount of people.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I mean, that's kind of the case with primaries. A lot of people think, that the primary is no big deal. Some people just need to be properly re-educated on just how important. In fact, the primary may be where it's exactly won or lost, especially in my area. That's where it is, because the Democrats not going to win this area. They run all the time, but they very rarely win. Mm-hmm. So the primary is where it's at. Yes. And of course I was reading your bio, and I could tell that you have those conservative values even before I talked to you on the phone, especially what you had to say about school choice. And of course, you have a rather large family too. Yes.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly how many children.
13.
Yes.
Yeah. So they call themselves the lucky 13. Now they do. Growing up, they didn't feel always so lucky, but now they appreciate it, and they're all best friends too. So that's really awesome.
It's not since the baby boomers that have there been families that big either, and that's for real. Since the birth rate now is just slumped, whereas back in the 50s, my dad and his siblings, because my grandparents had 6 children that included my dad and his 5 other siblings, and one of my uncles who married into the family, that right there was a family of 11. So yeah, there's a reason why they called them the baby boomer generation, because there a lot of children born back then.
Times were starting to pick up and get better back then, so people felt more confident, I suppose.
Well, we lived on a very tight budget, and we lived differently than most people. And it's kind of funny watching YouTube now with the different videos about living on very little money, and the minimalist lifestyle and all that stuff. And it was my thought process was, if I went to work, I'd probably, we'd get a bigger house, more cars, and more stuff. So my commitment was to just be home and make do with what we had, and just, treasure the value of our family. And, obviously it was harder than I thought it would be, but we got through it. But that's kind of why
I was going to say, but
kind of why I got into this stuff. Yeah. Sorry.
No problem. But I know what one of the key elements that why you were so successful with your family is because you kept God in the family.
Right.
And which seems to be forgotten. Or if you've seen what they're doing with Coca-Cola, you can put whatever phrase you want on a can, except you can't mention God because it's hate speech or something.
Yeah.
And
we even had a board member in our town in one of the board meetings say that she wanted to, because I would say God every now and then on a board meeting for one reason or the other. And she was like, I think we should make a rule that you can't say God during these board meetings. And I'm like, we pledged to the flag. One nation under God, we're starting every meeting saying God.
Did you ask her if there was anything prohibiting you from raising a middle finger in her general direction during the board meeting?
Number one, I wouldn't do that. Number two, I do try to make a policy not to insult people, because
I thought she was insulting you, but
She was.
First of all, the funny thing, you got to think about
I
what
can be
somebody's.
insulted, but I can't do it back.
You absorb it, I know. The thing about it is people like to say that, we got to take God out of this. We take out. What does God mean? What does God actually mean? So if somebody is Islam and I say God, does that not mean Allah to them? Or if they're Catholic and I say God, does that not mean Jehovah or Christ to them? It's a generic term for the supreme deity. So whoever you are, whatever your religious beliefs, when I say God to you, it's whatever you believe, bro. Take it as it is.
But, it's really we can make it seem that's what they think sometimes, what they might portray, but they know the power of the real God. And that's what they're showing. It's like they're showing evidence that they do. As a matter of fact, in a school board meeting, we were talking about solar panels, and I was like, they're trying to sell us all this solar panel stuff. And I looked at it and I'm like, this looks like this amortization schedule is for 60 years. Could you explain that to me? And so the salesperson was trying to explain it using all these weird, and when he got done, I said, so we're living by faith, right? And they were like, wow.
Nice dig.
So yeah, that's what we have to do. We have to show them the truth of their errors, and more people need to be doing it.
So I heard you say one true God, but you didn't say who. Would you like to say that? I mean, you are welcome to say it on this show. We wouldn't deprive you of that.
Oh, well, I do believe the God of the Bible, and I do believe that he's our creator and our sustainer and our savior. And I do believe that he is the one that, makes it possible for me to get up every single day. And he also is the giver of eternal life through Jesus Christ. So that's who I believe. And I do believe that our founding fathers knew the divine God, maybe not always the same way. I think we have more diversity now than we had then. We had more respect for the Bible itself. And even people who didn't believe in Jesus as Savior believed and had reverence for the Holy Bible. And I believe that our one nation under God is God himself. I believe that our money says, in God we trust. And I do believe that our nation was founded on the truths of God and his principles. Otherwise, we would not be here today.
Absolutely. Well, the original liberator, right? Jesus Christ was the original liberator. I mean, he really liberated people from oppression. When you think about it, because he brought us forth into relationship with God, where other people were controlled previously through churches or hierarchy.
That's what it says in my Bible.
Right.
And I'd like to show it to you. You wouldn't see the difference, though. I have the We the People Bible, which is a King James version, but it includes the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and Declaration of Independence in the back.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I do believe in the King James Bible as well. And for my education for my kids, a lot of the curriculum I've used is from Pensacola Christian College, which has a lot of the King James Bible in it. And they also emphasize memorizing the preamble to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the important documents. Like, they actually teach the kids to memorize those things. And I've taught my kids to love our country and to be a good citizen, And then I realized, even after 25 years of homeschooling and be a mom and all these things, I have a friend that told me, if you don't know your rights, you don't have any. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of know, and I trust that all these things are working, but I'm realizing that we're not really following them properly. And so that's kind of how I got into, going onto the school board and just stepping up to different political things. I think people call it political, but I just think it's being the citizen we're supposed to be, which is laid out by our Constitution and by, our founding fathers in this whole system that we live in, and that it depends on good citizens stepping up, because if we don't step up, then someone else will.
Yes, it's a perfect segue to go exactly where I'd love to go with this conversation, but we're at the first quarter, so we're going to go ahead and take our first break, and we'll be back in about a minute and a half.
Attention gun owners. If you've purchased a self-defense plan from one of those companies that say that they'll have your back when a self-defense incident occurs, think again. Did you know that some of these plans are backed by insurance companies that likely have endless exclusions to deny your claim? Join the Attorneys on Retainer program and get lots of benefits for firearms owners, including training, full affiliate program, and a complete legal defense on self-defense cases. Find a link to Attorneys on Retainer for more information at thebeardedpatriots.com/affiliates.
Have you ever wondered why so much of what you hear in the media feels filtered or even manipulated? The truth is, most major news outlets are controlled by collectivists, people who think it's their duty to shape what you believe. So the common man ends up with a so-called correct opinion. At needtoknow.news, we do things differently. We provide unfiltered news and commentary as an antidote to the mainstream's newspeak. Here, there are no distractions with sports or celebrity gossip. Instead, we focus on what truly matters: your freedom, your health, and your financial security. And while we stand for individualism, we promise this: we'll never twist the facts just to fit our view. Even if the truth is uncomfortable, we'll report it anyway and let truth have its voice. Join thousands who refuse to be misled. Sign up for the needtoknow.news newsletter today and start seeing the world as it really is.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Once again, we're joined by Cindy Bennett, who's a member of the House of Representatives. I usually like to use the phrase, since I'm a fight fan, she's getting ready to defend her title because she is an incumbent running re-election. Yes, and you're one of the things that you're running on is one that I think is probably the most crucial, is education. I mean, anymore the way they have things set up, that critical race theory is more important than math or history or science, and of course. It's like they haven't forgotten that we need to learn how to read, but of course, in there's one thing I just find so disturbing is let's just find a new way to teach our children the ABCs than to have a drag queen read to them the gay BCs. Now, I'm not saying that to teach children that homosexuality is wrong. I'm saying leave homosexuality out of it completely. They don't need to be a topic of discussion among them. They can't handle that. And that's one of the books, they teach to young kids to teach them the ABCs is the gay BCs. And of course, within it, they do have Q for queer is one of the things, So we got to eliminate that. Got to eliminate the critical race theory, because in the end, all that really teaches is self-loathing, and I think they're trying to eventually encourage suicide. But that's my own take on it. You, on the other hand, you have mentioned you have homeschooled your kids. Not only that, but you're an educator yourself. It says so in your bio. You've taught math.
Right. Yeah, that's what I went to college to teach. And so I homeschooled for many years, and then my older 6 kids graduated, and then I was like, we need a change of some sort. And there was a school that needed a teacher. So I said, I'll do whatever I need to do. It was a small group. I called it Homeschool with Help. So it was pretty good. It worked out well for us. I taught school and my 7 kids came to school with me. So people are like, how do you do it? And I said, well, let me tell you, bringing 7 kids to school is easier than what I was doing. So it was nice. We got, I actually had 3 of my kids in that first class. That year I taught first, second, third grade combination class. So I had some of my kids in that class. And then the next 2 years I taught all the math from first grade to 8th grade in the school. I just like one class after the other. And then the last 5 years I taught 7th through 10th math. So I've done a few different types of things, but math is kind of my thing. And I guess my niche would be like junior high, algebra 1 area.
Now you might be bit disappointed with me because I barely passed algebra and I can't remember any of it.
Okay. Well, see, that's why I'm here, because I don't want the next generation to say the same thing.
No, but I do have my
we need some thinkers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we need thinkers. And I tell my students, it's not just about the math skills. It's about teaching you how to think in steps, using your brain, like exercising your brain. And, like when you go to the gym, you might do exercises on different types of equipment. That's not what you do in everyday life, but you're actually building your muscles, and your brain also needs that help. And I think that a lot of that problems we're having today is because kids aren't just exercising their brain, doing the brain work. They're all over here in these social weird things that they shouldn't even be thinking about. Their brain should be occupied with lots of things, not just math, but reading books, practicing an instrument. My grandkids just went to a play 2 weeks in Massachusetts. They had theater camp and they put on a play on Pilgrim's Progress, and it was amazing. So stuff like that, keeps the kids engaged in something profitable and useful and something they'll remember the rest of their life. So I think those are the things.
Yeah. One thing that just kind of bothers me, it doesn't kind of bothers me, it bothers me a lot, but I'm obviously I'm a parent to a kid who's grown. Plus I'm a foster parent to a special needs child, which with him, I don't have to worry a whole lot about when it comes to academics because he's not going to get it. So we have to find other ways. But just to tell you, when I was in algebra, I'll never forget it. And I've told this story before is, my textbook, the answers were always in the back. I remember I did one assignment and I just wrote, I was peeking at the answers. And of course the teacher knew because the formula wasn't being shown. And so I'd do the assignment all over again. But now you've got AI that'll show you the formula. That's not setting with me very well.
I know. And we're also relying on the kids to do a whole lot more discernment than kids used to do in the olden days. Kids used to need parents to help them and guide them. And now we give them a phone and we expect them to have their own discernment. That makes no sense to me. And, AI, I think we can do, there are workarounds that as teachers, we need to, like one time I had my math students do a report about a mathematician. And I knew they were going to probably, copy paste from ChatGPT. So I made it long, 2 to 3 pages. And then I said, of course I told them not to do it, but of course I know they're probably going to. And so I said, don't use it. That's plagiarism and all that stuff. But then I said, you're going to have to do a report and you have to also either draw a picture, bring a model, or some kind of visual explaining your topic. And so I think some things like that is what we need to do to help kids to work around the AI, because I mean, I like to use AI sometimes, and I think it is useful for a lot of things, but it's not useful for what you're talking about. Like with algebra, you have to show your work, and I can ask questions. I'm actually pivoting to tutoring online. So I'm looking for students to teach online. So I will do some one-on-one plus give them independent work. And, I'll have to be mindful of ways that I can evaluate them and their work so that it's not just, oh, I looked this up. And, I told my kids in person, I have the answer key. I don't need to know X equals 5. I need to know all the steps you used to get to X equals 5. So it takes a while for kids to figure that out. But it's just tragic. I saw an article that there was a teacher I think it was in California. She was teaching college, and the kids didn't even know how to do fractions. And fractions are usually, in my traditional background, we teach fractions in 3rd grade. So,
That's where I started.
Yeah. So it's getting really bad, and parents need to wake up. I'm trying to, just tell parents it's up to you. You can't just sit here and complain about the school and then just keep sending your kid and not doing anything about it. Either you need to get a tutor to tutor them the gaps that they're going to have, or you need to find an alternate type of education, and you need to make sure they're actually learning. So
one thing I've got to get your reaction to is something I heard maybe a couple years ago is somebody who stepped up and said they wanted to ban school choice, get rid of homeschooling because parents don't have that college education to teach kids.
Right. Okay, well, I can react to that because I went to college for 4 years and I majored in math, and I'm from a country town and not a bunch of geniuses. So I had to work really hard to get my degree, and my dad was so proud of me. And then I realized there's homeschool parents teaching their kids and they don't have a degree. It's like, oh my goodness, But through the years, I've met a lot of people, and I've realized that teaching is not just, your college degree. It's not like how much you actually know. Teaching is how can you reach the student? And there are some people that don't have a college degree that do a great job homeschooling their own children, and they enjoy it and they love their children. And they can also, nowadays, you can go hire out. You could hire me for math. You can hire, you can go online and get all kinds of resources. I mean, I told my kids 15 years ago, this is the information age. Like, you can learn anything you want. Why are we limiting ourselves? I mean, is it George Washington that only had a Bible and one other book for many years before he got his education? I mean, a lot of the founding fathers were homeschooled, and they homeschooled themselves. That's really the key, is teaching your child to want to learn and to want to read and be curious.
I think Washington had access to other books, but you're right to the point that he was more or less self-taught. He had some coaching, but he educated himself quite well. I'm kind of curious how you feel about, because ironically, I got this message today about putting biblical studies back in schools here in New Hampshire. I was kind of curious how you feel about that.
I like it.
I pretty much wouldn't appreciate someone who doesn't believe the Bible teaching the Bible. I would, like, we have churches, we have Sunday school. I would find a good church that really has, I mean, there's so much we can do to learn the Bible. I went to a Christian high school, actually, and we learned a lot of Bible from good, godly people. And I also went to a Christian college. I wouldn't really want the public school I wouldn't stop them from doing it, obviously, like if they're going to teach it as a reading assignment, but
I don't think they can.
I wouldn't probably.
I think the Supreme Court ruled against it. That's why they took it out of schools in the first place.
Oh.
So I don't think they can just arbitrarily do it. There's no bills you can pass because obviously you don't overrule the Supreme Court by passing a statute within the state. But I saw that and I was looking at that. And I remembered that and I looked it up and go, yeah, there was a ruling. So, but yeah, I think you made a good point on that, a relevant point about who's going to be doing the teach. I think Billy had the assumption we're going to bring in a pastor or something, right? And that does sound favorable. But you might get an atheist that goes, oh, I read the Bible all the time. And I have seen atheists do that. And I ask them why you read the Bible. My thought process are so they can educate themselves to have stronger arguments against it.
Exactly.
Some people have told me they just enjoy it. It's like reading stories, and they enjoy the stories. I'm like, I'm doubtful on that. But
yeah, me too.
Yeah, you make a good point, though. Would you want an atheist teaching your child or reading from biblical scripture to your child in a public school system? And that could be a concern.
Yeah,
we had a bill about teaching gun safety and stuff like that, and I was a little nervous about they wanted the public schools to teach that. And I really talked a lot about that because I'm like, do I want somebody who doesn't believe in guns teaching about guns? Are they going to bring in somebody who does believe in guns to teach about guns? So I had to go like really, really like ask a lot of questions about that and do some of my own like thoughts about it. And it didn't really pass, but I do believe there's a lot of accidents that kids should have a respect for guns and not realize how dangerous they are and everything. But to be honest, the true way to teach guns, in my opinion, would be, the fathers and, getting back to what
traditional.
My dad loved hunting. He loved hunting. He loved, like shooting targets and things like that. And it was a lot of fun, but then he also knew the safety aspect and, how to clean your gun, how to respect it and all of those things, how to lock it up, make sure it's safe and things like that. I think that would be more what I would prefer, not just a general, person who says that they're really bad and don't touch them. And
I get the impression you're big on parental rights and that learning starts in the home first. And that's basically what you alluded to at the beginning. But I think we have to take a break, Billy.
Yes. And I'm going to have a question for Cindy when we come back in about 2 minutes.
Okay.
America's under attack, and they're all around us. I'm talking about liberal Democrats, and they're out to destroy everything that we've worked so hard for. Mammoth Nation's here to fight for you. You only get one vote, so let's join forces. We support conservative lawmakers and the causes you hold so dearly. We stand behind our police, veterans, the Second Amendment, and much more. We need your help, so join today.
Hey friend, have you heard of Q Broadcast? It's taking the world by storm. People are cutting the cord to their high cable bills and moving away from streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, and others for something better. Q Broadcast. For just $60 a month, you'll get access to every channel you could ever want. And the best part? There are no contracts, no hidden fees, and you're free to cancel anytime. With Q Broadcast, you can enjoy live streaming TV, movies, and top series on up to 5 devices at once. Whether you're at home or you're on the go, Q Broadcast makes sure your entertainment is always at your fingertips. That's right, you can watch all your favorite channels from anywhere at any time and with 0 restrictions. Say goodbye to contracts, extra fees, hidden costs, and price hikes. Switch to Q Broadcast, save money, and get more content than ever before. Click the link in the description of this video or podcast and sign up for Q Broadcast today.
Here at Brighteon and BrighteonStore.com, we've made it our mission to help you and your loved ones be prepared for any emergency, which is why we are dedicated to bringing you a wide selection of ultra-clean and lab-verified superfoods, supplements, preparedness items, and other health products. So support your health and this free speech platform by shopping at brighteonstore.com today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back once again, joined by Cindy Bennett, member of the House of Representatives in New Hampshire. Now, a question I have for you is, basically, I'd like to get your reaction to this story I'm about to tell you, which I've told a couple of times in the past. But in Ohio, I don't know exactly where this happened, but there was this girl whose family is they're very big in hunting, and I mean, it's pretty much within the blood. It goes in the history. They're all hunters. They're deer hunters, and she shot her first deer, and obviously her family's very proud of her, and there are pictures posted on Facebook, whatnot, and doing that weird thing that I'm from a family of hunters myself, and I don't get putting the blood on the face. I don't get that, but she did a picture of that because that's what her family does. The next day when she went to school, her teacher basically called her a murderer and shamed her in front of the class, made her write some kind of report or whatever, that murder is wrong, that her family was teaching her the wrong values and things like that. Please give me your take on that, because honestly, I think that teacher should have faced disciplinary action, because that's none of her business.
Yeah. Well, when I was 13, I told my dad, get me out of the public school or I'm going to run away. So most of my problems were I didn't like using the bathroom, and just because not even the issues we have today, and the kids were bullies, and I was not, treated properly. So hold on one second. Okay, sorry.
No problem.
What I do, I do believe that the schools should be held accountable for such things, but I don't like it how kids are caught in the middle, because kids should not have to be the ones standing up for us. Like, if I was going to confront the school, I'd probably take the kid out and then do the business, because the kids are going to be affected. And that's not a popular thing, because I know some people, have their kids in school and want to do certain scholarships and all these things that they might miss out on. But that's just how I feel. Like, I don't feel that kids should have to go to school as a young person. That's my biggest thing, is like, let kids be kids, let them grow up as innocent as possible for as long as possible. Teach them the truth, strengthen them. But it just breaks my heart when they get, like, during the 2020 stuff and the things the kids went through by wearing those masks. I mean, I went to a school board meeting where one mother said, this is in real life, said that her 6-year-old had to go to a psychologist because of the mask and what it did to them, and all of the trauma and the fear and all of that. And it just broke my heart that the 6-year-old would be in such distress at 6 years old. Like, we're not even, it's not like we're in a war zone, like where you have bombs. I've read stories about kids being in actual wartime, but this isn't wartime. We should be able to protect our children from adult insanity.
Yeah,
that's my problem.
I kind of think we're in a state of political warfare, and our children are at stake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. But do we put them right in the battlefield, or like, that's why I would say, homeschooling's a great option. I came to a point where I was like, homeschooling was really hard for me. I was dreading the next year, and then I had another option. I could work at a Christian school. Now we have micro schools. We have a group in New Hampshire that's starting a organization called Education Options, and they go around to different towns and share different types of educational options. I don't know if you've heard of them, John, but they're Jody Underwood, the Underwoods, Ian and Jody Underwood, and they he's written some books, and they're scientists, like they're retired. They could just sit home and just relax, but they're interested in helping kids. I wish I had someone like that I could have leaned on a little bit way back through the years, you know? So we have so many options available that I think that this bullying thing needs to stop, and we need to make it stop by, I just was hoping after 2020, nobody would go back to school, and then all these schools would have to figure out, okay, what's next? Nobody wants to be here, but they all get them back in. So now we have to still talk about budgets and fixing something that's broken.
Well,
I was going to say, you know, people talk about bullying a lot, but isn't that part of growth for children? Have to deal with kids that are bigger than them, stronger than them, and learning to cope? And isn't that part of the growing process, learning to cope with it, deal with it, and handle it?
I suppose, but I made a different choice when I was in school, and I got to go to a school where I could wake up every day happy. And yes, at a Christian school, you're still going to have opposition. I mean, I had some bad situations, but you know, we had choir every day. We had teachers who, you know, taught us godly principles. We had Christian friends that I still have today, and so many positives. And I talk to other people my age, and they do, you know, everybody kind of like embraces their past. But, you know, I really enjoyed my high school years, and I have good memories, and I don't have regrets. But some people really look bad on those years, you know, where they did things that they wish they hadn't done. So I guess it's all in how you look at it. I mean, it's how you look at it, and I'm glad we have a free country where we can choose.
It is. I think on clarity about my statement, there is bullying to the point somebody becomes suicidal is not a good thing, obviously. But you said conflict, having conflict, or having challenges or competition. That's where it becomes healthy.
Well,
but yeah,
I do think you know, in the case of the girl in Ohio there, she was getting bullied by her teacher now, and that's wrong. Yeah. I mean, she was challenging. You have to realize you're going to be if you're going to be a teacher, you're going to be teaching to kids who come from families that have different backgrounds than you, and it's not up to you it's up to the teacher to teach, not conform them to their way of life. That's the problem I have right there. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of teachers doing it, just like that one woman who stood before the class and said, if your parents voted for Donald Trump, they are abusing you, and you need to let me know right now so I can call Child Protective Services.
Yeah, but you know, how can we regulate that? Like, people are going to, as a teacher, somehow your values are going to pass on to your students, even if you don't mean to sometimes. And I agree with not bullying, and I agree, hold them accountable. I do agree with all of that, but I guess it's, you know, I don't know what the solution is. Like, we can sit there and say, oh, that's not allowed, and then we're bringing people to court constantly, you know?
Well, the problem is
I just think policy. A lot of it.
I think we got a slight delay.
But what if 3/4 of the people don't agree with that policy? They're going to make a policy for what they believe in.
Yeah,
So-
well, they're adults and they're supposed to do it. If I'm running a business, say I'm running a corporation, and I have employees, and they decide they're going to do it their way instead of the way I asked them to do it, I have policies set up for them to follow. And if they don't follow my policies, my business collapses, right? It corrodes, and I lose my business. It fails. My customers all go, well, screw you. You're chaotic. I don't want nothing to do with you, right? Because your employees can't do as they were told. So I'm losing on that, and that's the problem with the educational system. Is we got policies set up to stop indoctrination. But when teachers decide, like Billy's alluding to, when teachers decide that they want to indoctrinate, and we got principals, we've got superintendents that don't enforce these policies, don't monitor these policies like they used to once before, this is where we've got chaos. We've got a freaking head of the American Federation of Teachers Union that's setting school policies, and we're allowing her to set school policies. That should be coming from the Board of Education, not from jackwagon leaders in the union. Where do they get off setting policies for our schools? And they go along with these things. It doesn't even make sense to me. We've been living in chaos for way too long, and this has been the decline of our educational system.
Definitely, yes. Well, we're at the. There must be a delay.
There's a slight delay I noticed, but I think she has a comment on that.
Yeah, good. No, please say it.
Well, I was just going to say that we kind of went through that a little bit with the library, because we have a little country library and we just want to have books for the community. And then we were having to follow the rules for the American Library Association, which is out of Chicago. And I had to keep saying, we're not Chicago. We are a little town. We have barely any room for books. How about we get the best books and let Chicago deal with the modern books that we don't really even want, that we don't even know exist, and we don't care. And so that's been a little bit of a battle too, because we're trying to universalize all of the schools, the libraries, the thought processes. We're trying to make everybody, think the same thing, but we want to be individuals, and our country town with country people, we just want simple intellectual things that make sense and that are good for our brains.
See, small town people understand other small town people, like I already told you, the size village that I grew up in, and we feel the same way. Like you said, where you grew up, it's slightly larger, but pretty much still it's an anthill compared to the rest of the nation. And keep it simple. Everything's tight knit. And of course, that song by Jason Aldean, Try That in a Small Town. Big city folks can call that as controversial as they want, but they don't understand how we operate. And it's not racist. We're not Klan town. We watch out for one another. That's how we learn. That's what, I'm sorry, I don't really try to criticize too harshly of people who grew up in super big cities like Chicago, but I'm a bit biased towards our small town folks. I think we have the better family values and morals and principles. I really do. But that's my opinion.
Yeah. I've seen some good movies about teachers in like Chicago, New York City, things like that. I think the good values can still prevail, but I don't really know how they get off on these tangents that we all have to accept, because
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we're at the final quarter, actually a little bit past, and so we're going to take our final break, and we'll be back to wrap things up in about a minute and a half.
Hi, my name's Sean Spicer, father of 2 elementary school age children. I don't even know that I have to open this. The hips on the drag queen go swish, swish, swish. Anti-racist baby. Yeah, I don't know how many babies come out racist. Babies are taught to be racist. Really? I'm not really sure that this is a subject that young kids are ready to adapt to. Most kids are innocent. This is not really, we're gonna need like psychiatric help after reading this book. Yeah, it's a hard no.
Your book that's coming out.
See, this is more like it. This is what you can read. It's very well illustrated, too. Great story, great message. Now this is a book you can read your kids.
In 2026, America reaches her 250th year. But according to the authors, America is not dying of old age. She is being intentionally and methodically murdered from within. Liberal versus conservative, black versus white, Democrat versus Republican, the divisions are endless. Who is shaking the American jar? From crime to media influence, government power, constitutional rights, illegal immigration, and election integrity. The Democrat Murder of America examines what the authors believe are the forces reshaping the nation from within. The evidence is unmistakable and deeply troubling. This book seeks to first expose the truth and show that a peaceful and effective solution still exists. Time is of the essence. The Democrat Murder of America by Daniel Perkins and Sheriff Richard Mack. Available now.
Yes, get your copy of Murder of America at murderofamerica.com. It's a really, really important read right there. And
sorry.
Sorry. There's points in there to where we can help stop this madness and save our nation. But anyway, just getting ready to wrap things up. Of course, we've spent pretty much the entire show speaking on education. But like I said, I think education is very crucial, especially with the times we're facing now. And I'm so happy to see people like Cindy in office who are taking a stand for education along, obviously true to the Constitution and the other things. But there are so many fronts on this battle. It's like you can't fight them all. So we have people like Cindy who'll take the educational front. We have people like we had last week, Tom Mannion, who'll take the front on the Second Amendment, and yeah, he spoke very highly of you, by the way.
Yeah, he was on my committee. Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch that one. I didn't realize that you interviewed him.
Yes, yes.
I support him. Yeah. He's a really good. I like to see that's the one thing I loved about getting into the State House. There was one girl that she's my age. She said, "How'd you get here?" And I said, "I hate the government." She's like, "You're in the right place." I was like, "Oh, okay." And so I did meet some amazing people in the State House that I didn't know existed. And that has given me hope, that there are some real great patriots that are really standing up for what's right and doing the hard work. And in New Hampshire, we do it basically for free. So, but it's been my honor to do so.
Well, there was a gentleman when I worked with when I lived in Pennsylvania for a short time, and of course I worked in a warehouse, and I remember he worked the most overtime. He did the heaviest lifting. He did all the hard jobs, and he put in the most overtime I ever seen. And then I still communicate with him to this day, and of course, he started having back issues and his body's breaking down from all that hard work at the warehouse. And he decided to run for office, and he won. And then he told me that standing at a podium or sitting at a desk or whatever he has to do is far more exhausting than all that back-breaking work he did back at the warehouse. So
yeah,
so,
I've kind of just gotten my feet wet. I definitely don't work as hard as Tom Mannion and some of the other people there, but I've been in awe to be able to be there and to be a part of it. And I wish, more people would step up. When somebody says that they don't believe that voting works, I tell them, you're the 40th person that told me that. So if all 40 of you show up at the polls, that can make a difference, especially in a small town.
Oh,
so we
absolutely.
do need every vote.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, we have a problem with voter integrity right now, and that's, we have Mike Lindell who's trying to challenge that in Minnesota. I mean, he's not. Mind you, I like him, but I'm not really supporting him for governor because there's another candidate that John and I both know who we both think is probably better suited for the position because he's just got a better plan for Minnesota. But but still, voter integrity is so important. There's a certain someone there right there from the Granite State who won election that shouldn't, and I say he was seen stuffing ballot boxes, and now that person is in prison where he belongs.
He's talking about Stacey Lawton, in case you're not familiar with it, but I don't know why you're not mentioning names. You can say Brad Kohler too, bro. You figured that out, stood out like a sore thumb, didn't it? I wanted to EDOPT, EDOPT.org is what I think you were talking about earlier. And wow,
yes.
It's nice. It's a nice site for people in New Hampshire. If anybody from New Hampshire is watching, absolutely check it out if you need to, because it looks like it's all encompassing for different options, including going to high schoolers going to as opposed to staying in high school. So people do have options. And in fact, I exercised that option when I was in high school. I went to community college instead. That was in Florida.
Yes. Her fur kid must still be talking.
Sorry. My daughter has
show.
She has 2 dogs and one she's babysitting. So sorry
okay.
about that.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yes, but my goodness, this show has gone by so fast, and I've really enjoyed this conversation. But we are unfortunately out of time. If anybody wants to look you up, of course, we have the website I found there in the ticker. But if they want to look you up and support your campaign, where do they need to go?
Right now I have my regular Facebook page, just as my name, Cindy. My maiden name is Holdsworth Bennett. I do have if you go to my regular page, you can go, I can direct you or whatever. I also have a page for my campaign. So it's just Cindy for New Hampshire. So I think that's it. Cindy Bennett for New Hampshire on Facebook. I'm not really majorly fancy. I did do a Give, Send, Go fundraiser, but I was able to raise all the funds I really needed. And so I'm kind of done with that. So that's been a blessing.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. But you still need the support, which of course I just have this feeling you're going to retain your seat, and you're going to keep on keeping this battle. We need people like you. Even though I'm not New Hampshire, but you're set. I feel that anybody who watches the work you're doing from elsewhere, you're setting an example for them. And
that was my hope. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yes.
If I can step up, so can you. That was kind of my point. I looked around, I'm like, well, I guess I'm it. So but I have enjoyed it, and I was going to say something else, but I forgot what it was. But my whole motivation is to do what I can, and that to show other citizens that, you start out, just start asking questions and start just getting involved. And there's plenty to do for everyone. And yes, I would like support, because sometimes you wonder, am I here by myself? Like, people vote for you and send you off to the state house. And, I'm a mom of 13. I drive my car by myself to the state house, park my car, walk to my seat by myself, and here I am. I do kind of feel alone. So it's nice to know that you have people supporting you. A lot of my kids have moved away. They're kind of, living their lives, and that's how it's supposed to be. And so I want my kids to also know that, I'm fighting for you, because, life is hard for the young people right now. And I'm fighting for them. I'm fighting mostly for the children, because this is their life that we are affecting by the decisions that we make.
Oh, that is awesome to hear. And on tap for next week, we're going to be speaking with Jason Gearhard. Now, he's running for sheriff in, I can't remember what county in New Hampshire, but it was actually requested by the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance that we bring him on, and I said no problem. So we'll be speaking with him next week. Cindy, it's been
Jason too.
Do you?
Yeah, it's that's the thing about New Hampshire. Like, once you start getting involved, you get to know, especially the real patriots, right?
Yeah.
All
right. Well, Cindy, God bless you, and thank you so much for your time here on the show, and best of luck to you in your campaign.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for your prayers too. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in to Patriot Confederation. God save the Republic of the United States of America.
Events of recent history indicate that Americans are setting a course for the end of their own great nation. The ever-growing trend in this country is to judge people not by their individual character, but by their identity as a member of a specific group. No one has ever succeeded or failed in life as a result of their group affiliation. A person's success or failure is also not based on luck, but on the sum total of the decisions that they have made. Those who succeed do so through good work ethic and the wise use of their power to choose. The opposite is true of those who fail. The ideals of individual accountability and responsibility in the United States are dying every day. A gun cannot be responsible for a death, just as a shovel cannot be responsible for digging a ditch. Both are only tools and have no will of their own. Responsibility is an adjunct of conscious choice and is the price we pay for freedom. Freedom is also a tool. It's an essential tool that is needed by human beings if they are to prosper, rather than to merely survive. Yet there are those who would rather trade their freedom for security. Some believe that it is the responsibility of government to provide freedom. In truth, we form government to ensure and protect the freedom that is already inherently ours.